Welcome to another episode of Shankar IAS Academy's podcast. Our guest for today is Ambassador Anil Trigunayat, sir, a distinguished diplomat over 3 decades serving Asia, Africa, and America. Let us talk more about our sir. Our sir has been an ambassador to Jordan, Libya, and other countries, and he's also been a deputy chief in Moscow. And let us hear more insights from. Let us have a global tour from our sir's vision. Let us go to sir and ask more interesting questions for today's session. Welcome to Shankar IAS Academy, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bharvi. So kind of you to invite me to this podcast of Shankar IAS Academy, which is a very prestigious academy, I must say, and the kind of service that you are doing for the future of this country is amazing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, we have seen your postings in various places across the globe. So we want to go a short world tour and sharing your experiences. And we also want to see the journey through you and hear it from you, sir. So let us start with a very basic question. May I know the naming of Anil Trigunayat, sir?
Well, Anil, you already know, everybody knows Anil, but Trigunayat is, in fact, is a title, which was given to my grandfather, who used to be a landlord, but is still. And Trigunayat means the 3 gunas. Essentially, what we say is Sat, Rajas, and Tamas. The 3, one is Sat is the truth, qualities like that. The Rajas is the kingly qualities, and Tamas is the dark qualities, as we know. So, but the God is the only one who has the perfect balance of them. Rest of the human beings have one or the other, or no, not a real perfect balance. So we try to arrive at the balance. So it is basically a legendary title in that sense.
We've also noticed that you're India's ambassador to Libya. Can we talk more about Libya's democracy, sir?
Well, madam, in fact, I was in Moscow when the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh wanted me to go there. And in Delhi, we had no clue exactly what was happening. As you know, that Gaddafi was killed and the country was ruled by the militia groups. And there was no law and order in the country. It had come out of the revolution. And at that time, and unfortunately, there was a tremendous negativity against India. Normally in the Arab world, in Africa, everywhere, Indians are loved. But there, because of the revolution, and we were part of the UN Security Council resolution, in which we abstained. In the beginning, we were against the intervention, any external intervention in any country. But then eventually we abstained on that resolution, which was not liked by the people. And unfortunately, our friends like the Americans, the British, the French, they all went ahead and tried to campaign against India and the BRICS countries, telling that they are Gaddafi. So in that kind of situation, people on the ground virtually hated India or Indians. And at that time, I came to Libya. And my basic job was essentially to how to reduce that negativity and bring it up to even a 0 level. That would be a great achievement. And if I can do something positive, so that was the basic premise we began with. They were hankering, obviously, and New Libya was hankering for democracy. But the democratic experiment in that country has not really succeeded. The reason being that the Western countries which were involved in crafting their future were all divided. We had groups who were supporting one or the other group. And the kind of model that they brought about, non-party model in the first elections, and I went there. And I must tell you, and I have written about it also, that for the first time, we were the largest democracy in the world. For the first time, when I was observing the elections there in 2014 or 12 also, at that time, the most important thing that I noticed was people's enthusiasm to decide on their own future. And there were no law and order, there was nothing. It was simply sheer enthusiasm of the people that they went and cast their vote. A parliament was elected at the time. They had an elected prime minister also. So elected government was there from the transition council. However, that, as you know, in all these places, when the geopolitics and the geoeconomics play a role, then the country was divided.
We also hear textbooks saying diplomacy can be negotiated in conference rooms. What is your say on that, sir?
Well, diplomacy negotiates, not can be negotiated. And the art of negotiation essentially is how you can extract the maximum mileage to your point of view. That is what. But it is always a give and take. When we negotiate with somebody, it can't be that I have this position which we are looking at today in the
Right.
Iran-US war.
Right.
So you can't have a vertical position and negotiate. So for that, both sides have to come down to. So that's very correct. That diplomacy plays a great role at all times.
Yes, sir. Moving on to the next question, sir. West Asian landscapes is undergoing seismic shifts, as you can see. So, what's the baseline for peace, sir?
The baseline for peace, in my view, is sanity. Unfortunately, that is missing in this course. The Americans, in my view, the attack that the Americans, along with Israelis, did on February 28th was an illegal attempt on their part. The Strait of Hormuz was open, everything was going on, but the Americans still decided to come and for misinformation. I mean, I have written a lot about it. They miscalculated everything. They did not have a real grand strategy exactly how to exit from this war. And so now they want an off-ramp, no doubt about it. But the Iranians are fighting for the resilience, for the survival. And therefore, what Iranians have done in the meantime, knowing too well that they will be attacked, they have crafted certain strategies which were not appreciated beforehand by the Americans, and they are facing it. So that's why it's becoming increasingly difficult to have some kind of a solution to this problem. But eventually, a solution will come on the battlefield or on the table.
Also, sir, we also want to know about evolution of Indian-Russian strategies from you.
Well, I think that Soviet Union before and Russia later on have remained like a strong pole for India's diplomacy, I would say. The Soviets and the Russians have supported India in its development in the beginning. Then in the United Nations Security Council on critical issues like Kashmir, then provided a lot of assistance in defense forces, security, shared intelligence. So like any trusted friend, they have stood with us. And even today when we are facing problems about the shortage of oil and energy, this is from Russia that we are importing the most.
Okay.
And they understand and they appreciate and regard and respect India a great deal. And consistently we have had at the leadership level the closest relationship with Russia in my view today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, you're a state diplomat. You're towards the global peace. What's the hard instrument that de-escalates real-world political conflict?
Well, there can be 2 or 3 scenarios. One is either you are such a big superpower that nobody can stand up to you. But in my view, if you see in the 20th and 21st century, none of the superpowers in the world have won a single war conclusively. They have the power to destroy. Whether it is China in Vietnam, America in Vietnam, US in Afghanistan, Soviet Union in Afghanistan, or in Iraq, USA in Iraq, or in Libya, or for that matter, now the wars are going on between Russia, Ukraine, and US, Iran. Yeah. So the superpower thing that they have, this mightiest power against which everybody will be scared, is no longer there. So what will work? As I said, the sanity should work. That we must realize that we can destroy, but can we win the war is something that all the planners must understand and learn about.
Right, sir. I have another question for our civil service aspirants who are watching us today. Sir, India's foreign policy takes terms like strategic and autonomy, multi-alignment. How do they function in practice, like BRICS and stuff?
Well, the fundamental principle of strategic autonomy is in our DNA. And that is part of every civilizational country. India is a master in it. Even after independence, as soon as we achieved our independence, we started this non-aligned policy. While the world was being divided into 2 blocks, we said that we will choose our own path. We'll take our own decisions. Going forward, now, after 80 years, 70 years, the way the world is in a churn and a flux, India has adopted this policy of strategic autonomy with multi-alignment. Now, strategic autonomy is like this, that there is a war between Russia and Ukraine.
Okay.
Whole Western world forgetting about their own invasions into various countries. And we also said that our own national interest is also very important.
Yes.
And therefore, this strategic autonomy or any issue you take it, we do not get browbeaten. We are a country of 1.4 billion. We are the largest democracy in the world, fastest growing major economy in the world. We have to choose our craft. And I think that the way the world is going, and I think your students must know and understand and appreciate that the world may be divided into two blocks yet again in a different kind of Cold War 2.0. But India will have something that not many countries have, and that will be to lead the nations which are following the strategic autonomy. And the voice of global India is the voice of global South. Developing countries look up to India because of this strategic autonomy.
Okay.
The Chinese or Russians or the Americans don't like it, but they don't mind it that India follows this strategic autonomy, because India's alignment with any country in that sense or alliance will be a difficult situation for them.
So they have to deeply understand before they could pen down their answers on
Well,
this.
they need to. This is a challenge for many countries,
Yes.
because we will take a position on the basis of our national interest and all Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as we call it, for the global interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So you have researched WHO at Oxford.
WTO.
Yes, WTO, sorry, at Oxford. Promotion committees. What is the future of economic diplomacy and how should India achieve it by 2047?
You see, economic diplomacy, in my view, is the bread and butter issue at the end of the day. You are looking for investments, you are looking for technologies, you are looking for trade, you are looking, and that can only happen when you have better relations with the countries. The World Trade Organization and WTO, before that, the GATT, when they came about, the whole idea was that each country, member country, will provide the most favored nation status. There will be no tariffs. But under President Trump, we have seen that tariffs have become passé. I mean, everybody he's just using against everyone. It's like on the slate of his hand. Even yesterday, very strange thing he said that the flames and the bad wind that's coming from Canada, he will put more sanctions on them or tariffs on them. Now, that's a natural thing. So I think that is very important for us to understand that the international institutions like WTO, like United Nations, multilateral institutions are under tremendous stress today because of the unilateralism. And it is only countries like India who still continue to place faith in the United Nations, in the allied organizations like the WTO, because we have been the founding members of every single organization.
Okay. So there is another question which we see in our UPSC papers in current times. Indo-Pacific dynamics. So we also, how should an aspirant link the security of Western Indian Ocean with India borders? And that's one of the main Indo-Pacific questions in our mains. Can you help us?
Indo-Pacific basically is going to emerge into the next zone of contestation between China and the United States.
Okay, sir.
India is the resident power in the Indian Ocean. The Western Indian Ocean or the Eastern Africa continent, all these are part of our remit.
Okay.
And our Navy will have to guard it, and we'll have to continue to do that. Now we are seeing that what is the problem happening in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, yes.
There is another one with Bab el Mandab that might be closed soon. So we'll have bigger problems. Now Indian Navy or Indian forces will have much more.
Yes.
But then the collaboration is more important. So therefore we have cooperation under the Quad, basically, in which you have Australia, you have Japan, and you have United States as the members. And also we have bilateral relationships, trilateral relationships with different countries. Just now, President Modi went to Indonesia, to Australia and New Zealand. And there the maritime security became the primary concern.
Okay.
So we are working on that, how to protect our own interests in the maritime domain as well.
Okay, sir. Nice. Sir, having served as extensively across diverse regions of Africa, so what is the advantage and challenges in that continent?
Well, in each continent there are new challenges. There is, and I have had the great privilege of serving across continents.
Yes.
But you must learn how to appreciate their culture. You must appreciate their, people. You must have great networking capabilities. You must respect their traditions, modes, and learn from them. I mean, in Africa, if you go there, it's a kaleidoscope of culture. You go to Arab countries, it's very different. I mean, so each place has its own momentum, but you need to be open to it, number one. Number two, you should appreciate and respect The mutual respect is extremely important in dealing with different cultures and different people.
Your academic roots are more on physics, and that is a straight tour from physics to global diplomacy. How did you manage?
The good thing about science is that you are very precise. And in diplomacy, the precision is very important. You should be very clear. You must use your words very carefully. And I think in that sense, even in my civil services exam, when I took sociology as my other subject, my answer to a question was not more than 2.5 page maximum. Because I could not spin a lot of stories around. I knew only the facts a little bit, tried to justify them by argument, and that's it. And I got reasonably good marks in that. But what I'm saying is that it is your basic knowledge, but then you get trained over time on the job with your good bosses. You learn a lot, and it's at the end of the day whole learning process through the service. And when you become an ambassador, then you guide your colleagues, and after you retire, then you interact with a lot of people and learn from them.
I want to take you back to your personality test day during your time. So, what was your question they asked during your personality test, and what is the guidance you can give to our viewers who are watching this? What is the kind of resilience traits the chairpersons look into future bureaucrats?
Well, I think what they are looking for, I'll tell you a personality test of mine with the Indian Forest Service, which was very different than what happened in the civil service exam. When I went for that interview, they thought I'm a MSc in physics, so they started asking more questions on physics. They asked me that if their plane is going, it throws a bomb, what will be the elliptical orbit and all that. So I drew it, and when I was drawing it like that in front of them, it looked more like a mouse than a real elliptical orbit. So obviously they were like. Then they continued to ask me several questions, including on the nuclear energy and others, which I had not really, I was not thorough. So you'll be surprised that in my 42, 43 minutes interview, they asked the same question repeatedly, one by one. And I kept on saying, sir, I don't know. Madam, I don't know. I have already said I don't know. Right. So important thing is, now, after that time, I don't know now if it is true or not, but that time after you come after interview, you have to sit outside and write your summary of the interview. And which was given back to the board. So at that time, I wrote in that, and I just did 2 lines. I said, I'm not happy with my interview because I admitted to not knowing the answer of certain questions, but they kept on repeating it. You'll be surprised that what they want to see is how well can you perform under stress.
Your resilience.
Resilience, that you mentioned. So that's very important.
Yes.
If you don't know something, admit it. That's the most important. Don't bluff, because they all know. They are very.
You don't have to manage the.
Yes, you don't have to. You know or don't know.
Yes.
Use your best foot forward.
A no also can be an answer.
Or no is an answer.
Okay.
No is an answer. I don't know. You are not supposed to know everything.
Yes.
It is. They want to give you a comfort level, right? But sometimes people give an answer which leads to more questions. So important is to be precise in your answers. Like if you know something, then you talk about it. If you know something more, then you lead them into asking more questions. So it depends on your own. So basically, number one, be thorough in your subject, whatever the subject is there. If you don't know something, admit it. Thirdly, don't get flustered. Nobody knows everything. I'm telling you, in that interview, they gave me 60% marks. Despite my telling them that this is, because they knew that it doesn't matter. When you go to the job, you will do a different job. This is just a gate you have to cross. Yeah. So your personality should not be that of a timid person. You should have the capacity to learn. You should have the capacity to basically interact with people, to be able to convey that, yes, whatever your convictions are, they are there. So I think the smart strategies generally pay well in the interviews.
As an ambassador, You've been so patient and kind enough to give your time to us, sir. And we are very grateful for sharing these experiences of you through Shankar IAS Academy. I would like you to give us some guidance and support for our candidates watching this today. So,
No, I'm really very thankful to you
thank you, sir.
for coming. It is always a great pleasure ever since I retired to interact with youngsters.
Yes.
And I go to any universities, colleges, and not talk to them on foreign policy issues, basically. And it is my pleasure, essentially, and I must congratulate you for the great work that you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Because see, you are already doing half the job, more than half the job for them,
All your blessings.
whether it is personality test or for the written exam. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much for our viewers. Thank you so much for watching us again. Stay tuned for more such episodes. We had a very incredible journey, having a great world tour from our sir. Thank you so much. Let's meet again.